All right, what is going on today, chat? Another day, another grade review stream. What is up? Gab, Brantley, Joe, Ken, Koth. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in for episode 67 of Grade Review. What up, what up? Aw, snap. Here we go. All right, guys. So I think we're just going to get right into it. We got a lot to cover today. I have a card show that I got to start preparing for here on Saturday. So we have a lot to cover, and we got to help the homies out. So we have some pilot tiers that we're going to go over first, then cadets, then non-subs. So first, welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Galaxy Gaming. I do too, Frazzle. I do too, my friend. The Slowking, probably one of the hardest cards to grade in my opinion, alongside the Lugia in the Gen 2 space. But I'll get over on why that is in a second. Mike, what's going on, man? How's it hanging? How's it hanging? So if you guys have never been here before, welcome. My name is Galaxy Gaming, and every Wednesday I do what's called Grade Review. And what that is members of the community go into the Discord and submit their cards to be reviewed live during these weekly Wednesday streams to have us as the community review your cards and assess what they possibly could get as a PSA grade. Inherently, it is an absolutely free service, and the goal of this is to educate as much as I can, because there's a lot of people who try to look for grading plays, whether it's at a card show or a local game store or even Facebook Marketplace, because one of the cool things that we're going to be doing today is reviewing cards over the internet. So a lot of these can also apply if you're looking at eBay listings or Facebook marketplaces or any other marketplace. These are some of the tips and tricks you can use when looking at cards online. Big Perm, thank you for the follow. So if you guys do enjoy the tips and tricks, I'm open to questions. At the end of the day, this is a free service for you guys as the community. So if there's anything that you need help with or questions or anything like that about the hobby in general, use me as a resource, because that is ultimately what I try to do, is to try to help you guys and help collectors kind of navigate through the world of Pokemon as much as I possibly can. So if you guys do enjoy yourselves, make sure to like and follow, share, all that fun stuff, and we are going to get right into it. So first, we are going to start off with the subscribers first. So one of the perks during Grade Review is that subscribers have priority, and the first up is none other than Frazzle. So Frazzle, thank you for that subscription. We're going to start off with the Slowking. So as a reminder for folks who are wondering what are the main grading criteria when looking at cards, they are going to be centering, corners, edges, and surface. So we're going to be looking at all four today. And whether or not you like PSA or Beckett or CGC, all the tactics and all the observations I'm going to be making can apply pretty much to any grading company. So then that way, when you submit, say, for example, you submit your cards to GameStop or through someone else, you have a good idea or good expectation on what your card should get in. Randy, once I am done with this Slowking, I'll definitely make sure to go over how to submit your cards here in a second. So the first thing that we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the centering. So what I always like to do to start, because there are going to be some new people in here, so the centering is going to be measured something like this. So we'll use this Slowking as an example, because this is what we're starting with today. So the best way I use is obviously do this in person, but I always tend to use a ruler that is transparent in nature. So in this example, we're going to look at the right side. So all we do is I'm going to take the inch or the larger tick mark. I'm just going to refer to them as tick marks just to make it simpler for everybody. And we're just going to measure here. So we have from this point to here, and we're going to count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right side. And as we go over to the left, we basically do the same thing. We go from here to here, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 on the left and 5 on the right. So this is how you measure centering. So how it would go is, so you'd add both values together. So the left side plus the right side equals 10. And then all you have to do is just divide one of the sides by the total. So 5 divided by 10, and we have 0.5. So 0.5 is going to be our 50% ratio. So 50% on the left and 50% on the right is going to equal that 50-50 ratio. So this is the perfect amount of centering for the Slowking. So very, very good centering. I've honestly been live for a total of 7 minutes, Kobe. So centering on the bottom and top also look very good. So it's very well centered on the front. So why that's important is that centering basically sets the ceiling. So at best case scenario, the centering on the front at least is allowing us to achieve a PSA 10 contention. Now there might be some issues that will obviously prevent that, but think of centering as the first phase, meaning that we kind of set the bar higher or lower at like what the maximum threshold is going to be from centering. So now that we have perfect centering on the front, we're going to look at some of these corners here. So I'm going to take my little magnifier tool, and this is just a Chrome extension that I'm going to be using today. So you can kind of see these corners. So the top right corner looks great. The top left, possibly some mild kind of like corner folds or corner bends here. The only reason why I'm saying that is because the rest of the card is very illuminated, where you can kind of see some slight dark patches here on that top edge. So we'll have to see if that is true if we flip it over, but that might be something that might knock us down a few points in the subgrade of the corner and the edge. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Left side, same here. You can kind of see a little bit of discoloration on that left side, most likely indicating a shadow of some kind. So as we kind of go down on the left, bottom left corner looks good. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right looks good. And same thing here, a little bit of that shadowing on this right side. You can really see it predominantly within this magnified area. Submitted my card last week. Do you think you will grade it today? So every time I have a grade review ready, I post the queue for the day. So if you go to the episode 67 thread, you'll be able to see the queue for today and where I left off. So you can kind of see some of this darkness on this right side. So now it's really just looking at the hollow. So with this image specifically, so the reason why I brought it up in the beginning is Slowking, Lugia, anything that has a lot of hollow surface. Sabrina's Gengar is another one. These cards are very hard to grade because they have what is called a lot of Pokemon to hollow ratio. So the ratio of the hollow is drastically larger than the amount of space kind of reserved for the Pokemon or areas that are not meant to be holographic. So there's a lot more that could possibly happen here in this section. So at this angle, I'm not really seeing anything, possibly something right there with the tip of my mouse, but it's kind of hard to tell. But maybe some very slight scuffs, but again, a little bit difficult. The other thing I see is right where the E would be, where it says evolves from Slowpoke. It does appear that this is almost grayer in nature where that E is, so that could possibly be some removal of that purple layer, or it could just simply be how the lighting is, that it's kind of causing that dimple to almost look overexposed, which is looking like there's something removed there. So those are a few questions that we might have to start. Now we flip it over on the back. Centering looks really good on the back, so not too worried about that. Now we're just really looking at the corner. So a little bit of whitening there in the top right corner, a little bit of whitening there in the top left. And as we go down this far edge, we do have some whitening all along this left edge. So right off the bat, we're starting to get off. There are some straight top to bottom scratch scuffs on the hollow. Okay, so on this left side, we are seeing some pretty noticeable whitening. So I'd say right off the bat, we're already kind of falling out of that 8 to 10 range just because of that whitening. Possibly 8 if you're very, very lucky, because that is a pretty significant amount of whitening on that left edge based off of the picture. So we see some whitening there on the bottom left-hand corner as well and on this bottom edge. But aside from that, it's really just the whitening that's really kind of holding this card back from what I can tell. And just checking the surface real quick. So again, we're just kind of looking to see if there's any scratches or dings or dirt or anything like that that might kind of jump out at us. So nothing that I can see there. But, and this is just another angle of that same Slowking. So the hollow in this angle looks really good. But then the Frazzle, who is a card we're looking at right now. Hunter, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. There are some straight top to bottom scratch scuffs on the hollow. Okay. So we might not be able to see it from this specifically. Mary, thank you for sharing the live. But we'll have to kind of take your word for it. So if you're saying that there are some scratches on here, as well as some of the whitening. And so one of the things I like to do, and if you guys want to weigh in, I normally open up the chat grade at around 15 or more concurrent viewers. So if you guys want to weigh in moving forward, I'd really appreciate if you guys like or share the live to get us over that threshold. And so as we're looking at this, with those mentioned scratches that we can't really see, but the person who submitted this is kind of letting us know. This card, my guess, is definitely not going to be a 6. I think this is a really good kind of 7 to 8. I'd probably lean more towards a 7. It'd probably be hard pressed to get an 8, just due to the fact that this whole left side is more or less whitened, in addition to some of these corners. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners whitened, a little bit of the bottom edge whitened. Not so much on the right side. We have a little bit, as well as the top, not too much either, but this left edge is pretty much all whitened. Maybe from being in a binder or something like that. But the hollow looks pretty clean, with the exception of some of the scratches that was mentioned. But the centering is phenomenal. So yeah, I'd probably say, you know, really, really good near mint, or really, really good PSA 7 in my opinion, just because of that. Is it possible to fix whitening? The only way that you could possibly fix it, Cruzy, is if the fold, like if the edge, for example, was folded over and you kind of push that layer back if it still exists. But other than that, no. Anything, or if anyone tells you any different, you're running the risk of what's called alterations, because you'd have to use something physically to clean, or not clean, fill in, so like a marker or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Geo, thank you for the follow, appreciate that. Submitted my lab Mewtwo GX, very happy, got a PSA 9. That's awesome, Aaron. That's super sick. Did that go? I think we reviewed that during stream, didn't we? I can't remember. You'll have to let me know if we are accurate or not. But that's awesome. Congratulations. That card's sick. All right. So next up is the first place League Challenge Regigigas, which is always pretty cool. We've seen a few of these kind of newer promos, newer for the channel at least. So it's really always cool to see these like first place and staff promos, stuff like that. So let's take a look. So this one's a little bit different. Obviously, there's not a lot of holo that we can really look at. So super stoked to look at this and kind of review this with you. So the centering on this looks really good. The only thing that I'm kind of hesitant on, again, maybe some of the lighting, is that top right corner, a little bit lighter than the rest of it, but we'll kind of have to see. Additionally, there are some, what appears to be some dirt marks maybe on that top right hand corner, right where the tip of my mouse is. But we are going on the left corner, going on this left edge. What's up, How Did the Humidor? I'm actually doing a second round, Eric. I really flattened out that bottom right-hand corner, but I wanted to kind of do one more to see if I can kind of get the... Because there's still like a very, very slight crease line where that bend was. The bend is folded down, but there is a slight kind of like a slight line where you can still see where the bend started. But it's so far, it's really looking good. Bottom left-hand corner looks okay. Bottom right-hand corner looks okay. Surface looks fine from what I can tell. Sorry, I'll go over... I know I told someone over the Slowking, but after I'm done with this Reggie, I'll go over it for sure. Apologies for that. So the front looks good, from what I can tell. And I think you had some other angles here. The front, really not anything really kind of sticking out to me at the moment. So I think... Yeah, there's really not much I can really see, to be honest, on the front. So it's really just the back that's probably going to be the deciding factor, and it does look like that's the case. So the centering looks good on the back. A little bit of whitening on that top right side. What app is this? All this is just me looking at this through Chrome. And then the magnifier tool is a Chrome extension. It's called Magnifying Glass Hover Zoom. That's all I'm doing. So a little bit of whitening on that top right. A little bit of a scratch there on the surface towards the edge. So we're going to have some surface issues, some edge issues, and some corner issues on the back, but nothing crazy, but all three of those are going to be impacted to a degree. We also have a little bit of whitening on that bottom left-hand corner. And then on the bottom edge looks good. And the bottom right, a little bit of whitening there as well. So I'd probably say with this card, it looks relatively clean on the front. There's really nothing I can see kind of sticking out to me. No noticeable folds, and I think before you said that there is some sunlight or some shadows on the Slowking, so I think I'm kind of gonna basically carry that over to this as well, but nothing I can see on the front, and really just the whitening. So we have 2 points of whitening, or 3 points of whitening, sorry. So 1, possibly 2, and then 3 on the bottom left, and maybe some on there on that right side, but too hard to tell. Aside from that, I only see really 1 scratch up here and possibly 1 in the top left. So right now, unless there's something else that I can't really see, I don't think it would get a 9 or higher. I think 8 would be ideal, probably be a sweet spot, especially for some of these whitened corners and a little bit of that scratch on the surface towards the top. But I don't think it's bad enough to warrant the 7. But I think 8 would probably be a pretty solid guess in my opinion. Okay, so for those of you who are wondering how to submit your cards, this is how you do it. So if you are watching me on Twitch tonight, that is going to be in my description. If you're watching me through TikTok, you're going to click my link in my bio. From there, once you are in my link tree, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Next, once you're in Discord, you're going to submit your pictures in the grade review channel. Again, you're going to submit your pictures in the grade review channel. And please make sure that you follow the rules on how to submit your cards, which can be found in the pinned messages. For example, I don't review cards that are in sleeves or top loaders or poor lighting, stuff like that, because the worse the image or the more scratches there are, I don't know if it's on the top loader or the sleeve, stuff like that. So once you submit, again, it's completely free, but it is first come, first serve. And I only review up to 5 cards per person per stream. So you can submit 10, 20, 40, doesn't matter. I'll only review up to 5 per week. However, if you need it faster, where there are some people who maybe want to sell their cards faster or get their cards graded faster, because PSA right now, currently for the cheapest submission, has a 65-day turnaround time. And you have the ability to subscribe on the Discord. So not only does that give you priority grade review each week, currently we're on the pilot tier, so they have priority, and moves on to cadets, and then moves on to the non-subs. You also have access to a monthly giveaway. So this month's giveaway is actually a Breakpoint check lane blister with the Pikachu promo on the front. So subs on Discord get entered into a monthly subscription, and the cheapest one is $4.99. It kind of goes up from there. So if you want to support me, that is a great way to do so, and I always appreciate it. Waste, what's going on? Thank you for sharing the live. Look at you now seeing me stream. The full DGen repo player that I am. Staying up until 5, 4, 3, 2 a.m. Look at me now. All right, so next up, we have... Let's see. So next up, we have Arla in the pilots here. So let's take a look at Arla. So Arla has some pretty good stuff. Let me check to make sure. So we got a Dialga to start. Awesome, all good. I appreciate that, Waze. Thanks for sticking in or stopping by, hanging out. What's up? Hopefully your workday goes well. All right, let's take a look here. So the Reggie is gone, and we got some Dialga V-Stars to look at, chat. So let's take a look. Let's see. Can you check if a card was altered? I would say it's hard for me to look at that over the internet, to be quite honest with you, because some alterations, you know, may require kind of like looking at it in like a 3D plane or kind of seeing it in person. So it's a little bit tougher, to be quite honest with you. But okay, so for Modern. So one of the things that I kind of talk about often with Modern is the two big issues that I always see is centering and corners are the biggest issues that I see regarding Modern. So for example, this Dialga V-Star looks a little bit thicker on that right side than it is on the left. So we'll do a quick measurement just to kind of reiterate that point to you guys. So if we look at the right side, so we're going to measure this real quick. So again, we go from edge to right about there. And so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the right side in terms of those tick marks. And then on the left, which is going to be from here to here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. So about 4.5. So we add those up. So 4.5 plus 5. So we have 9.5. And so we're going to do 4, if I can talk here, 4.5 divided by 9.5 equals 47. So we should be good in that sense. So we should be in that 55-45 ratio by at least 0.2, which is really good. So even though it appears that it's a little bit thicker on that right side, if this were to kind of transfer in person, This should meet the requirements for PSA, which again is no larger than 5545. Just use an online centering tool. You could, but this is a way for me to better articulate it on stream to kind of highlight and kind of go over the examples. Personally, for me, I just use a ruler because sometimes, you know, lighting and whatnot. But yeah, I have heard that centering tools have been cool. I have yet to try one myself because really I haven't really needed one too much in certain cases because I'm not looking for black star or black labels or anything like that, but it's a good suggestion for sure. Aside from this, the surface of the card looks good, the corners look good. It's really when the back is what's gonna be the deciding factor. Midwest, thank you for the follow, I appreciate that. The top right corner looks good, top left corner. I think this whitening on the top is merely just the lighting. This card is very overexposed, which is actually good in our situation, so not too worried about that. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. So I would say, unless there's some other issues that we can't see, maybe some issues here, but I doubt it because I don't know if it's just because of the overexposed nature of the photo. But this one does have technically on paper a shot at getting a 10. I would just double check because it is slightly blurry. It doesn't really matter in this case, but just double check to make sure that this card is, you know, is good from the surface perspective. Is the only thing that I would check. So, so let me just load up your other one here. I'm just checking something real quick. This one was an 8. So next you had a sleepy Lechonk. Hunter and Rayquaza. Once I am done with my friend Arla's submission here, I would be glad to go over how to submit. And those look like some print lines. Okay, so I think that's what I was trying to load before. So those print lines, you know, depending on how bad they are in person, you might be able to get away with it. I have seen some that have been very faint on the back that have kind of gotten past that PSA 10 threshold. So you do have a chance, but if they are like really bad in person, which this one, for example, doesn't really look that bad, but your highlight kind of makes it look bad, I think you might be able to squeak through it. Mike, thanks for sharing the live as well. Appreciate you. All right, the Lechonk. Let us take a look. So centering looks good. I'm not really too worried about it. Kind of same thing as we saw on the Dialga. A little bit thicker on that right side, but I think it's within that 55-45, so I'm not too worried about that. Surface looks good. Corners look great. The back. So this is a really good example on this right side. So it might be a little bit difficult for you guys to see on mobile. If you're on Twitch, you might be able to see a little bit better. So if you want to go over there, definitely check that out. But there does appear to be kind of what I kind of coin as like the long distance 10 contender. So technically, from what it looks like, there's a little bit of whitening. I'm over here on Twitch tonight. The wife wants to see. Okay, we'll see, Mike. I feel like there's like a lot of pressure now. We do what appears to be very, very minimal whitening either here or here. And so sometimes, even though you kind of can see them in person, I've seen some that have still gotten 10s with that amount of whitening. But I've also seen the same amount of whitening also get 9s. So I kind of call those like long distance 10 contenders, right? So it can kind of go either way. So as we kind of go down the left side here, we're kind of going, possibly some more whitening here, but this one's a little bit too hard to tell because of it being kind of lifted and under that shadow. But aside from that, the surface looks really clean. So that'd probably be the only thing that I would double check, is that if those aren't as bad as what, you know, I'm not saying that they're bad at all, but since there's 2 of them, you might be kind of on that edge between a 10 and a 9. But I think, you know, I would say if I had to pick one or the other, I would still submit it if you're trying to look for a 10 play. But that's just my opinion. And then this one was a really interesting. So you're considering getting this sent to CGC. And this one is, we have like a smiley face, which is interesting. I don't know what that's about, but yeah, Maybe the smiling air Arcanine. I have no idea, Arla, what on earth that is. But some call Hollow Bleed, others have the smile stain. But I genuinely have no idea what that is. So a few things. So you're thinking about sending this to CGC or just getting it graded in general. I mean, just right off the bat, I would not submit this. Just to kind of save you some money. In my honest opinion, something like this, especially it's not shadowless, there's no major error. I mean, unless you're trying to submit to CGC because of this kind of like smiley face, I mean, that's a real stretch, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's like niche of the niche of the niche of someone who would want that more as like a gag or like a goof, I guess. If you're thinking, so my guess is that if you're thinking about submitting it to CGC, you're more submitting it because of this what appears to be a smiley face error, I guess. Because you can find these in bulk boxes in local game stores all day. It's not like you need to send it in like crazy. Because, I mean, the card is beat, right? Like, the edges are beat. Centering is okay, but there's just so much whitening. I mean, this right off the rip is anywhere from like a 5 to a 4. Just I can tell from the whitening. Because there's really no bends or creases, so I'll probably lean more towards like a 5 than anything. Because these don't even look folded. But it's definitely worse than light play for sure. It's like moderately played or dancing and heavy if there are any creases that we just simply can't see. So I probably wouldn't submit this. If you're trying to submit based off of this like ink dot error for CGC and you're kind of looking for that type of grading qualifier, in my opinion, you probably want to reach out to them and just say, hey, I have this unique error, like ink dot error. Is this something that you guys would even grade? Something like that. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. If I subscribe, can I get my cards graded? You can. It wouldn't be tonight because the queue is closed for the night. But if you were to subscribe to any of the tiers, Cadet, Pilot, General, you would have priority grade review for next week. But every week I close the queue just to kind of keep it fair for everyone. Facepalm, thank you for the follow. And so I had a few people like Ray, Hunter, Lil Facepalm. You guys were wondering how to submit. So ears up, heads up. I will go over that now. So if you guys are watching me on TikTok tonight, you're just going to go into the link in my profile. Once you're there, which is my link tree, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Once you're in the Discord, you're going to navigate to the grade review channel. And once you're there, you're going to submit your cards front and back, and make sure to follow the rules on how to properly submit your cards. You can reference the pinned messages in the grade review channel on how to do that. The reason why I say that is, for example, if you submit a card in a sleeve or a top loader and there's a scratch, I don't know if it's on the card, the top loader, the sleeve. So make sure you do that so I can review it. Otherwise, I'll have to pass on reviewing your card. So we don't want that. The service is absolutely free and it will always be free. However, it is first come, first serve, and is a limit of 5 cards per person per stream. You can submit as many as you want. However, I'll only review up to 5 per that week. So if you submit 20, I'll only review the first 5. Next week, I'll review the next 5, so on and so forth until you're completely done with all 20. However, if you want your cards reviewed faster, so if you're trying to submit to PSA, because the turnaround time is crazy right now, I think the cheapest is 65 business days, which is like 3 to 6 months, depending on their queue. Or if you're trying to sell it faster or whatever, if you just need it done as soon as possible, the Discord server does offer a subscription starting at $4.99 or more. So in addition to getting priority grade review each week, you also have a chance to submit and enter into our Discord subscriber monthly giveaway. And so that can also be found in our link tree at the monthly subscriber giveaway. Once you click that, this month's prize is a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane Blister, which is valued at around $80. So if you want to enter into this Discord sub giveaway, in addition to getting priority grade review, subscribing in the Discord at any of the tiers will allow that to happen. So that's how you do it, my friends. Max, thanks for the follow. I don't know if I said that. Tristy, thanks for the fire. Appreciate you. Christian, thanks for the follow. And on to... All right, so now we're on to the cadets. So Mike, I hope quite busy right now. Okay, sounds good, Betty. What up, what up? Hopefully your day is going good. I will, it's actually good that you're here. I'll probably be processing your cards and everything else after stream tonight, so I'll hook you up with the tracking and all that fun stuff. So I might have to have you confirm a few things from the work that you did, but just know I'll reach out here soon. Okay. So Mike, you are up next with the Growlithe, the Grimer, and the Zard. So we got some good submissions in that. So we just looked at the Arcanine, so now we're looking at the Growlithe from Legendary Collection. Probably, I've said it once and I'll forever say it. Some of my favorite reverse holos ever printed, and I think it's the same for a lot of folks. So let's get into it. So, the firework kind of effect definitely makes it harder to check on the surface. Phoenix, what's going on, man? Apple, what's up? What up, guys? So both of those are going to be pretty difficult. The surface and like on the front side, just due to the firework kind of pattern. So let's take a look. So centering is the other part that I was forgetting. Let's see. I have a collection. This card shop offered me 70. Then an hour later, he offered me 120. Well, that should tell you that you have some good stuff. So, if you're honestly, Malachi, if you're kind of wondering or just want a second opinion on kind of the overall worth of your stuff, if you join the Discord, we have a price discussion channel. If you want to submit your stuff there, I'd be more than happy to, if I have some time, to kind of show you just generically what someone should offer you in person. But it's up to you. The link is in the description in the link tree. So once you click that, you'll just go to the Discord icon. But be more than happy to help you out, because that's what this channel is about. That's at the end of the day, I want to help you guys navigate through these crazy times now more than ever. And you know, I don't really care at the end of the day. Like, I'll tell you what, in my opinion, what you should or shouldn't do. So it really doesn't bother me. I'm gonna tell you guys how it is in my opinion, and because I've been doing this for a while. So okay, thanks for the follow, Mala. So centering looks good on this Growlithe. So the only thing that sticks out to me to start is these little bit of scratches, and I would imagine that there are probably going to be scratches across the rest of the card. Back on TikTok this time, the wife's card, no pressure, right? My guess is that there's probably some more scratches kind of floating around in the more exposed area. How much do you think Glory of Team Rocket Master Set's worth? It's super hard to tell right now, Jay. My big rule of thumb is I don't really look at anything for modern sets for at least 2 to 3 months after the market calms down. So let's see. So there might be some more scuffs around this area, just because we're seeing some here. So my guess is that there's probably going to be some more across the card. So I'll have to kind of keep that in mind. So I would assume that the surface right off the rip, we're probably in that like 8 or lower range, because the centering is really good, but this is kind of telling me we might be in that 8 or 7. So let's see. So there is a little bit of whitening here on the top right. Let's see. So the one thing that I do see, and Mike, you might need to kind of confirm, and I don't know. Okay, so so this is what you were saying. So the Growlithe is my wife's card. She wants to know what the small crease on the back does for grading. So I'm assuming that it's this right here. And just for you guys on stream, one of the other tools that we haven't used tonight is our little pen tool. So this is where I'm kind of looking right here, is that there's a little bit of a crease kind of going across. So from what I can tell, and I might need to zoom in just a tad. So from what I can tell, that crease is going to be right in this section. So right where my kind of the magnified area of my mouse here. Hopefully you guys can see it on stream. So it looks like it starts probably right here and kind of goes right around to this section. Is like right in there is kind of the distance of that crease. So bends or creases like that definitely have a significant impact on the overall surface of the grade, because that, we're starting to get into kind of like indicators of damage to a degree. So it is pretty large. So we're probably starting to get into like, you know, the 6 area would be my guess, like at best for something like that. Because anything smaller, I would say, like if you're even to be, because I've had a Zapdos base set that was flawless with the exception of something like probably even half this distance, like kind of in this section, get a 7. And it was flawless the rest of it. I actually keep it around as an example. And so I think you have another picture, and you do. Okay, thank you for that. I think, did I load that? I did. Okay, so this is that picture right here, if you guys can see it, chat. So this is where we're kind of looking here. So this one is pretty noticeable, right? So we're kind of in that, like at most, we're kind of at a 6. But we really haven't looked at the rest of the card, so let's do that right now. So let me just zoom out just a tad so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So a little bit of whitening in the top right. Can't really see much in that top left corner. We have that crease that we saw on this picture here. So this is exactly what we're kind of looking at. So we kind of go down the left corner, looks really good. Bottom edge looks good. A little bit of whitening here on that bottom right. And we do have some whitening, mild whitening on that right edge, but aside from that, the surface is really good. So I would say, you know, with the scuffs on this left side and some in the middle here, we have a lot to work with. And actually, guys, this is the first time tonight that we have this. So we have a total of 30 concurrent viewers across all platforms. So now we are going to unlock what's called chat grade. So how this works is if you guys want to vote on what you think this Growlithe reverse rare from Legendary Collections would get, that's a mouthful, type in !grade followed by the number. Again, that is !grade followed by the number if you want to vote on what you think this Growlithe would get as a PSA grade. So how this works is across Twitch or TikTok, wherever you're watching me from tonight, all the votes will get tallied, and at the end, the winning vote will be the chat grade. So again, if you guys want to vote and weigh in on what you guys think this reverse Growlithe would get as a PSA grade, type in !grade followed by the number. The winning vote will be the chat grade. So I'll let that go for about a minute while you guys vote, and the winning vote again will be the chat grade. So as you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up with chat real quick. Drew, once I am done with Mike's submission here, I will go over how to submit your cards. We got some 5s, we got some 6s. Okay. Again, I'll leave it open for another 30 seconds. If you guys want to vote on what you think this Growlithe is going to get as a PSA grade. So this is really some of the biggest issues that we see is kind of this bend on the backside. So this is the full card, and it's really right here within this section. Crispy, thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate that. And anyone who has followed, shared, and liked the live so far, I really do appreciate it. Right now we're at 1.6K likes on TikTok, so anytime we hit over 10K, I start a weekly giveaway. I don't know if the banner's going, but just figured I'd mention that. Alrighty, so you guys are thinking a PSA 5. So chat, just to kind of write this out real quick. So chat, you guys are thinking a PSA 5. So now it is my turn. So for this Growlithe, centering is good, corners are good. The only thing that I see on the front is that we do have a little bit of scuffed hollow here. So based off of the rest of the card, again, these cards are very difficult to kind of assess online due to the firework kind of pattern here. So we'll kind of have to take that with a grain of salt here. But at most, we're seeing some scuffing here, so we'll probably see some here as well. So as we flip it over, this is where kind of the make or break of the grade really starts to come through. So the centering still really good. The top right corner, a little bit of whitening, but not too bad. Top left, a little bit too difficult to see. Bottom left, great, and bottom right, good. A little bit of whitening on this right side as well as the bottom, so that's not too bad. Really, the biggest thing that's going to really impact this card is this bad boy right here. So that crease is pretty noticeable. So something like this, from PSA's perspective, is considered a degree of damage. It is pretty noticeable in this regard. So I would say with the crease here, the mild bits of whitening on the back right side, as well as some of the scuffs here, which my gut is saying that there's probably some more here. I would probably, you know, range it from like a 6 to a 5, but I'd be leaning more towards, I believe, a 5 than a 6. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So chat, you guys voted, and you guys were thinking 5. So let me just write that down real quick so you guys can see how this works. So chat, you guys were thinking 5, and I was thinking 5 as well. Look at that. We'll do a little signature action. Tiny bit more. Okay. Maddie, thanks for the follow. Shane, thanks for the follow. And CE, thanks for the follow. All right, so there might be some new folks in here. So once I am done with Mike's submission here, which is going to be a Growlithe and a Charizard, I will go over how to submit your cards, or if a moderator has already helped you, they might reach out as well. Okay, so we have a little bit of some, let's see. So we have a little bit of some error cards, or not error cards, but banned cards. And so for those of you who are new, so this Grimer is one, I don't know what the total is, but is one of the few artworks that were actually altered before it came from Japan to the United States. So if anyone wants to guess very quickly, it's a pretty common one, but it's always cool to see if people don't really know. So these are things that you can kind of look for in value boxes sometimes if people aren't paying attention. If anyone knows, this is the uncensored version. So the big one is kind of the peeping Tom here, as Lust kind of saw. So these eyes are pointing up, and I won't draw the arrow more detailed than that. So they thought, yep, this is way too much. So the Grimer in the English version is looking this direction instead of up, but the Japanese, the Grimer is looking up. So that is how you that is the banned version. So let's take a look. So centering looks great. Corners look great. Surface looks great. Nothing that stands out to me. The back of this card is looking really good. So the only thing that I don't know if you're trying to show me here is possibly this, but that looks more of the card stock, but you might have a better idea than I do. But it also looks like that there might be some impacts here, which is unfortunate, near the R, if that's what you're trying to highlight for me. So right here, right where the tip of my mouse is, if you guys are watching on stream, is where I'm thinking Mike is trying to have us focus, would be my guess. But aside from that, the rest of the card is flawless. Minor surface stuff that looks like it can be clean but won't come off. Gotcha. But yeah, the rest of the card looks great, man. The corners look good. Centering looks great. Surface looks great on the back. But it's really just the front. I'm not too sure. I've seen this. I think this is what you're talking about. And if that's the case, you know, if it's kind of baked in there, so to speak, you might not get as much dinged as you probably think. But if it's something that's just stuck on there so much, like for example, I don't see it here, but then when you show us this picture, you can kind of see something here. I'm not really too sure. That might be what you're talking about. So if that is something that's kind of stained on there or something like that, obviously that's going to have a significant impact on the surface of the card, like the surface subgrade. So if that is the case, you know, we're looking at like near mint LP in that range, depending on how bad it actually looks in person. So probably like within that range, probably like a 7 or a 6 would be my guess. But that one's kind of on the fence because I really don't know how bad. Like if you feel it, like when you pass across it, that's one thing. Yeah, that's a bit tough. So I'd probably lean more towards that 7 or 6 range because the rest of the card is really good. So probably more a 7 than a 6 because the back is flawless. The corners are really good. The surface is good. Centering's good on the corners. It's really just this that you're trying to highlight right here. So probably more of a 7 would be my guess because that is pretty noticeable because you wouldn't consider that near mid plus. You know what I mean? Joe, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. And then last one before I go over how to submit your cards, guys, we're going to look at And I'm going to do this so I don't forget. I'm going to do that as a 7. Next up is the Charizard from Expedition. So let's take a look. So, corners look good. As we kind of go across here, top left corner looks good. This left edge, maybe some dirt on this left edge, but it might just be the texture in combination with kind of the lighting, so I might not draw too much attention to that. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right corner looks fine. Maybe a little bit of dirt right where the tip of my mouse is. I'll leave that on there for just a little bit, but that's kind of where I'm seeing as we go up. Also, maybe something here on this right edge. I'm not too sure. On right where it says Stage 2 Pokemon, there might be something there, stuck like a hair or something. Let's see. Surface looks good, though. Aside from that, nothing really to write home about, so that's good. In the back is where we start to have some issues. Centering looks great, but it's really just the corners. So we have the top right corner, top left, bottom right. So all 4 corners have some degree of whitening. And on the left side, even though there's a little bit of lighting kind of making this more illuminated, that is going to have some impact, obviously, on the overall condition of the card. So right now we're kind of in that light play to moderately play range, just from the back alone. You know, you could probably say that you're kind of on the worst end of LP, because the front, from what I can tell, is in actually pretty good shape. It's just the back and some of these stuff on the front that I feel like you can kind of wipe off or clean, something like that. Lurk, thank you for the follow, appreciate that. So I would say probably within that 6 to 5 range, because I think if this, so this is the kind of the caveat, because I know this kind of lighting, so that's why I'm kind of on the fence between a 6 and a 5. So if you were to kind of look at this in person, Mike, and you do notice more whitening kind of on this left edge, so where I'm kind of seeing would be from like here to about here in this range. So if that is a lot of whitening, I'd probably leave it more towards a 5, but when you kind of adjust the lighting and there isn't as much, you're probably leaning more towards a 6 than a 5. So kind of take it with a grain of salt, between the 6 and a 5. So I'll kind of do this here. So 6 to 5. But I mean, it's a Charizard Expedition. Great binder copy, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, so I'd probably lean more towards probably a 5 in that case, Mike, to be quite honest with you. Okay. So, as always, Mike, I really appreciate you submitting those cards. And supporting the channel always means a lot. And for those of you who are wondering how to submit your cards, I'll go over that real quick. So if you guys are on TikTok, you're going to go into my link in my description. Or in my bio, rather. If you're on Twitch, you go into my link in my description. Once you're there, you're going to go to my link tree. Next, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon, which is on the top. Once you're in the Discord, you're going to navigate to the Grade Review channel. Once you're in the Grade Review channel, you're going to submit your cards. Just make sure that they're out of their top loaders, sleeves. All the rules are associated with the pinned messages in the channel, so make sure to review those. Otherwise, I may not review your card. The service is completely free and always will be. However, it is first come, first serve with a minimum of 5 cards reviewed per person per stream. You can submit as many as you want, but I'll only review up to 5 once it's your turn in the queue. However, if you want to skip the queue or you don't have time to wait, I think the last person, I think I ended in like beginning of April, something like that. If you want priority grade review as well as supporting me and some other benefits, the Discord offers Discord subscriptions starting at $4.99 and higher, which will not only give you access to priority grade review in the Cadet, Pilot, General grade review channels, but also allows you to enter in a Discord monthly giveaway. And this month, which ends on the 28th, I believe, is a entry into winning a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo. That's valued at around 80, and that is exclusive to Discord subs, so that is how you do it. The only issue that Eric kind of mentioned as well, is if you're trying to do it on Android, the subscription is not on there for whatever reason. It is on Apple, but for Android, Discord does not like. So I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. So that's how you do it, my friends. All right, next up is Cruisin' Boy. Starting off with continuing with the non-subs. And we have the Mew EX. This is from Legendary Treasure, I think. Radiant Collection. How much longer are you going to be streaming for? It's a good question. I do have a show that I have to prepare for this week, so it probably won't be like crazy long. But I'm still going. I just started to address some of the non-subs, so. All right, so let's take a look at this Mew EX. So the centering looks good from the left to the right. Now the bottom to the top looks a little thick. Let's do a quick measure here. We haven't done one in a minute here. So what I'm looking at is going to be the bottom and the top. So let's take a look at that real quick. Oh. So let's measure the top here. So we're gonna do probably right around max zoom. Gonna go right here, and we're going from here to here. Right about there. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom. And then on the top rather, we have 1, 2, 3 on the top. I don't know why my 3 ended up looking like that. So 7 is the total. So if we do 3 divided by 7, we are at 42. So it'd be 5842. So if this measurement is correct in person as well, the bottom is setting the ceiling to a PSA 9 at the best, because the centering just fell outside of the 55-45 ratio that PSA now has for centering on the front. So that is the issue there. So this the maximum this card could possibly get would be a PSA 9 if everything else was flawless, if we're just considering centering. However, there might be some more issues here. So let me just zoom in just a tad so you guys can see. There we go. So top right corner looks good. Do have possibly some scratches here, but that's kind of too tough to tell. Olive, thanks for the follow. Bottom left looks good. Bottom edge, maybe a little bit of folding here. You can kind of see it a little bit lighter. Haters, thanks for the follow. But aside from that, from what I can tell from this angle specifically, there's really not any major scratches that I can tell, which is super good for a card like this. And the back is really where we're kind of getting held off here. T89 and Shreem, thank you for the follows. Appreciate that. So back centering is kind of mirroring from what we saw on the front, a little bit thicker on that bottom than it is on the top. And the back is a little bit beat for sure. We have some whitening here, some surface issues, have some bits and dirt and grime, stuff like that. Some more noticeable whitening on that top left corner. Left edge looks good up until that point. We have some mild whitening on the bottom left, on the bottom edge as well, bottom right. So basically the name of the game right now is whitening on the 4 corners. Not so much the bottom right, but compared to the other ones. And really scratches on the surface on the back side. So the back is kind of rough, in my honest opinion, which is kind of leading me to believe, so this scratch that I saw in the beginning, or what appeared to be a scratch near the chin, based off of the back, we can kind of make some soft kind of assumptions here that there might be some mild scratching, at least on the foil. So I'd say, you know, with the centering being at, like, giving us at most a 9, we can only kind of go down from there. And so scratching, you know, we're kind of starting to get to that 8 territory. But then with the amount of whitening here on the top left, we're starting to get into like near mint minus kind of LP range is kind of the direction that we're getting into. So we're kind of in between those two grades at the moment. It's definitely not mod play or PSA 5 by any means, because they definitely can get worse. But I think with the combination of the amount of whitening that is here on at least the top left, as well as the bottom left, on the bottom edge, top right, it's really just the surface issues here. You can really see it on this top edge here, as well as kind of this right side, some of the scratches. I would probably be more comfortable, assessing this as a really strong PSA 6 from the back, judging by kind of the condition on the front, the centering, stuff like that. So that'd be my guess. I mean, you could probably squeak away with a 7, but I would be more conservative and kind of assume that it'd probably get more of a 6 than a 7 would be my main guess. Okay, so next up here is going to be Praise Evie. So Praise Evie with the Charizard V-Star. Thank you, Rod, for helping out the people. And if anyone still needs some guidance on how to submit their cards, I will go over that once I am done with Phoenix's submission. So right now we're looking at Praise V with the Charizard V-Star. If you look at the pinned messages in the Grade Review channel, NG, it gives you some good example pictures that I have taken personally to kind of give you an idea on the lighting. Raiden, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. And I appreciate all the support tonight, guys. Thank you for the follows, shares, and likes. If you guys are new here, welcome. My name is Galaxy Gaming, and yeah, if you guys have any questions about grading or Pokemon in general or anything like that, I am here for you. I definitely invite any questions, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer them. My PSA affiliate? No, but I wish I was. I've submitted a few times, but not that big yet. That's what I was just about to say, James. These promos are extremely difficult to grade. Yep, because, they're in these kind of promo boxes and stuff like that, so... So right now, it's really this left side is like the left side and the top are really kind of drawing my attention here in terms of centering. So we can just kind of do this real quick, because this will basically, as I said, for grading, there's kind of like two phases. The first phase is measuring the centering, because that kind of is what sets the bar on how the rest of the grade will go. Because you can't really, if a card has 10 centering but is awful, like one subgrades everywhere else, it doesn't like average them all together and you don't get like a 4, right? The centering really just kind of sets how high you can go. So we're gonna look at that real quick. So first we're gonna look at this left side. So we're gonna measure from there to there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks on the left side, and I just say tick marks just to make it easier for all my folks who use all sorts of measurements wherever you're watching me from. So that's why it just makes it a little bit easier. So we do 1, 2, 3, probably like 3.5 roughly. So 3.5 on that right side. And again, do this in person for sure. Even with the apps, I would probably recommend still doing it in person. And I just use a ruler, a transparent ruler with millimeter markers. It's pretty easy. Just have it obviously in a sleeve. So we're gonna do 4 divided by 7.5, which is the total on both sides. So technically, from our measurement so far, we're at 53. So you're technically within the range. And then we're going to measure the top. So let's flip that over real quick. So we're going to go to the top. We're going to go right about there. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. And we are going to go from here to here, so that's going to be 1, 2, 3.5 again. So again, we're kind of in that range where they're 3.5 on the bottom, 3.5 on the right, and then 4 on the top, 4 on the left. So it definitely looks heavy on the left and the top, but measure that in person, because technically you're within the range, but it's pretty tough to say. But the surface looks good. I mean, corners look good. Again, with Modern, we're really concerned more about the corners and the centering. And does anyone want to guess? Well, I guess I'll quiz you guys real quick just to make sure you're paying attention here. What would be some signs right off the bat that this card may not get a 10? Can anyone see? Plague, well, welcome back, man. How are you? Like instantly when I flipped over the card, there were some points that I could see that were probably leading me to believe that this would not 10. Yep, Chris, Statch, yep, Ryden, yep, you guys are getting it for sure. So here are the bits of whitening that I see, which again, you know, this is a really good kind of lessons learned for those of you who may think, you know, a card that's packed fresh will always guarantee a 10. And this Charizard is a really good example on that just simply not being the case, right? So we have, and if hopefully my tool will behave here, because I don't know what's going on. Let's try this again. So let's move you over here. We're going to put you over here. And now we're going to try it. There we go. So we have 1. Ooh, I don't know what that is. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So those 3 points of whitening on this card is going to prevent this card from most likely getting a 10. At the very best, you're probably looking at a 9, but in addition to it being kind of off-center on the left and top on the front, and when we flip it over, it should be the reverse, so the top is still heavy and the right is still heavy. My guess is that you'll probably get, you know, a 9, and then depending on the severity of this, you know, as long as it's kind of within that 9 threshold, you should be good, but at worst, you probably get an 8. But based off what I'm seeing, if we're kind of doing it to the book, you're most likely going to be getting the 9 on that one. The round corner cut is not round in the bottom. Let's see. The round corner cut is not round in the bottom right. The bottom right of the back of the card. You're talking about right here, I'm assuming. Let's see. This right here. That might be the case. It might also be just kind of like as we kind of zoom in on these cards, some of the artifacting from the camera might take into account, but I definitely see what you're talking about for sure. All right, so next up is Phoenix. And after Phoenix's card, if anyone is curious on how to submit your cards, if you're wanting me to kind of go more in depth, I'd be more than happy to once I am done with Phoenix. All right, so let's take a look. Harry, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. So, gorgeous card. Oh, nice. Look at you, Chris. Hopefully you're not the American Psycho. Okay. Gamer Dad, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Centering looks good, from what I can tell. Corners look good. The only thing I think is more of texturing than anything. Chris, thanks for the follow. My business card, man. Is that this texture is kind of standing out to me. I don't know if it's just the lighting. Plague, thanks for the rose. Air, thanks for the follow. Thank you guys so much for the support. It really does mean a lot. Now to remember the two. Yeah, right, Phoenix. The texturing, I think the texturing in combination of the light, I think this is kind of making this stand out more than it probably should. I don't think that there's anything wrong per se right above where the M and E in Game Freak is. I think it's just the texture. So I'm not too worried about that because the rest of the card looks really good. And let's see. So this one's a little bit tough. So from the way that the picture is taken, and Phoenix, I know you're watching me over on Twitch. From the angle in which the picture is taken, it almost looks like this right side is a lot thicker than the left. Gamer Dad, very happy to have stumbled across your stream. My kids and I want to start grading. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Well, welcome in. And if you guys have any questions about anything, even on or off stream, please let me know. I'll be more than happy, and the community would be more than happy to help you guys out in your journey, especially now where everything is so crazy. So if you haven't already, definitely check out the Discord, which is in the link in my bio. I'd be more than happy to help you out. CJ, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. How rare are ghosting misprints? Do you have an example? I know like Ghost Stamp Pikachus, but ghosting misprints. Oh, are you talking, or the Japanese one? There was an error of this one, right, with the N Zoroark in Japanese. I know there's an error. Trying to attack photos of a kid trying to pull the card away. Right, Phoenix? Yeah, when you see a card that a kid pulls, you're like, okay, don't do anything weird. But aside from that, I think you retrieved it well. The corners look good. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. I would just say, and this is a rule of thumb for any card in particular. So if you guys can see, I appreciate that, TK. So if you can kind of see here, so these little white specks, so one, and I'll highlight them with a pen real quick. Hopefully you guys can see it. And it's doing that thing again. Hopefully not. Okay. So right here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So right there where I just highlighted. So if I kind of zoom in here now, those in most cases, especially with a card that is this new, in most cases, that is what we call card stock. That white layer, that white fabric-y cardboard layer that sits in between the top layer and the bottom layer. Sometimes in a pack, those little particles can kind of get stuck in the pack and kind of float around. And sometimes they get stuck in kind of these little pits across the surface of the cardstock. So all you have to do in this case is just simply use something like a microfiber cloth or something like that you'd use to like clean your glasses, for example. Just do a quick brush off, and those should come off really easily. For when you submit these cards to get graded, they won't actually do that for you. So you really want to make sure that you do that ahead of time, just so that they don't dock you from the surface grade. So I think with that being said, there's really nothing that's standing out. I would say the only thing, Phoenix, that I would really recommend, I think just because the angle is really tough for me to kind of measure in person, just make sure that the right side is good compared to the left. Again, the back is a little bit more lenient, but I really don't trust the 75-25 ratio that is on paper on the back. If it's me, I would say more 60-40, to be quite honest with you. So as long as this is 60-40 on the back, the top and bottom look fine. Just make sure that this right side and left side are within that range. But aside from that, I think you have a pretty good 10 contender, in my opinion. So you definitely saved it from the kiddos, for sure. So yeah, Harv and Hella, thank you for the follow. And again, so before I move on to who's after Phoenix, so we have Lucid is next. So before I go into Lucid, I'm going to go into depth how to submit your cards for a free grade review. So this is how you do it. So if you are watching me on Twitch tonight, the link should be in my description below. If you're watching me on TikTok, my link is in my bio. Once you're there, you're going to go to my link tree, and next you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Just make sure if you're on mobile to have the Discord app installed. Otherwise, you might have to do it on desktop. It's just a little bit easier. Once you have joined the Discord, the next spot you're going to go to is the grade review channel. So once you're in the grade review channel, you're going to submit as many cards as you want. Again, it's completely for free, but just make sure to follow the rules which are in the pinned messages of the channel. A big one is just to make sure that your cards are well lit, not in top loaders, not in penny sleeves, because if there's issues, I don't know if it's on the penny sleeve, the top loader, it's too dark, whatever. And what that will happen is I won't be able to review your card. So it's a sad thing. I never want to do it, but I have done it in some past examples. So just make sure to follow the rules and you'll be okay. So like I said, it is free forever. It always will be, but it is based on a first come, first serve with a minimum of 5 cards reviewed per person per stream. So again, you can submit as many as you want. You can submit 20, 30, I don't really care. But I will only review the first 5, for example, when it's your turn, and then I'll kind of continue those bulks of 5 until you're done. So if you want your cards assessed faster, because I think the queue left off in kind of the beginning or mid of April, I can't remember. If you guys want your cards assessed faster and want to support me as a streamer and a content creator and helping you guys out through Pokemon, the Discord server does offer Discord subscriptions starting at $4.99 and up. And each one will not only give you priority grade review above non-subs every week, you'll also be entered into weekly Discord giveaways. So this month's giveaway prize, if you guys are interested in that, is a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane Blister. So that can also be found on the link tree on the top. And so if you guys want to support me and have a chance to enter in those really cool giveaways, as well as have priority and just support me in general, that is the best way to do it. So I definitely appreciate anyone that does do that. It's not required, but if you guys want a little bit faster, that's the best way to do it. Carissa and Alan, thank you for the follows. Appreciate that. And so let's look at Lucids with the Charizard EX. And this should be on the top from what I remember. So it looks like it's inside. And it might be, but this one really doesn't matter too much. Because the front one was, but the back one wasn't. Centered well. No issues there. Corners look good. There's just a bunch of hair, but I think you had this one in the sleeve. So you kind of snuck one by me, Lucid, even though I just kind of got done with that rant. So sometimes they do. Sometimes I look at the thumbnail, it's like, oh, it's sitting on the top of the sleeve, but when I really open it up, you guys bamboozled me. So, but I think this one looks good. Centering looks fine. I'm not seeing anything wrong with the corners. Those are really the big two. So that one looks like a good contender, my friend. So we'll do that on that one. Next up, we have Giorgio. This one, when I saw this one made me excited for sure, because I'm a big Legends collector. I love these Legend cards so much. And it's funny too, I always joke, and I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but Legend cards, for whatever reason, always seem to be you only have one or the other. You never have both. I don't know if you guys suffer that same fate, but I certainly do. So let us take a look at this. What is it? The Kyogre Groudon Legends card. So it's the bottom half. So let's take a look. So the centering, we're really, obviously, there's like a whole left side or right side missing from this one, obviously. So my main focus is going to be the top and the bottom. So we're actually going to take a quick snap here, because the bottom does appear to be a little bit thicker, but again, especially with kind of make or break with those ratios, we kind of do our due diligence here. So let's measure that bottom part, and then we'll measure the top. So we'll go boom, we're gonna go here. Again, I'm measuring from this point right about there. So we're gonna go right there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4.5 on the bottom. And on the top, we're gonna go right about there. Make sure that we're zoomed in. Yep, we are. Okay, so we go boom, boom, right about there. And we got 1, 2, 3. I'd say like, yeah, we'll just say 3 on that one. So 4.5 plus 3, right? So we add the bottom value to the top value. So 7.5 is our total from top to bottom. So to find our ratio, we're going to do 3 divided by 7.5. So right now we're at a 40 or 40% ratio. So the top is 40 and the bottom is 60. So technically, if we're basing these measurements, this card at most can get a PSA 9 due to the centering of the card being 60-40. So again, as a reminder, the centering really kind of sets the stage for the phase 1, or how high we can actually go, and it kind of goes down from there. So let's take a look at the remaining part of the card. So the first thing I see, this may or may not be dirt that we can simply just wipe off with a microfiber cloth, or if we have something like a Q-tip and some distilled water, we can probably just wipe that off. If that is something stuck on there. But again, these cards are so crazy that it might just be the texture, like you can kind of see here. So kind of take that with a grain of salt. I'm not too sure if that's dirt or just part of the texturing. But the other thing I see is all of these kind of scratches, and this is, I don't know what language this is. I don't know if it's Spanish or Italian. I'm not too sure, but you can kind of see some of these scratches here underneath the 100, underneath this red blue section. You can kind of see all these scratches kind of going across. Italian. Okay. Ooh, thanks, Atreyu. Great band, by the way. I'm a big Atreyu Killswitch fan back in the day. Got some scratches by the grass energy. So there does appear to be some scratches on this card. So right off the bat, with the centering kind of hitting at most 9 scratches, we're starting to kind of get into that 8 or even 7 range. So this is another picture here. So we have some scratches there, but we also now see a little bit better detail, and the zoom is really good here, is that we do see a little bit of a corner fold in this top left corner. So right now we're kind of, within that 7 to even 6 range. And this is something, that we can try to flatten out. Would probably be ideal with like a humidor. Try to kind of flatten that left edge out, but again, it's really kind of tough to say. So we flip it over and try to make sure that you guys can see what I'm looking at here. So we do have some whitening on some of these corners. So we have one, and I'll kind of just do it based off the orientation. So the top right, which is technically the top left, but we're kind of doing it based off how we're seeing it. So top right, a little bit of whitening. Top left, a little bit of whitening. Bottom left, whitening. So we do have some whitening kind of across the entirety of the card. But I would say, with the amount of scratches that we saw both in the bottom left, so you can kind of really see it here by the 100. So right in this section, you can kind of see all those scratches across. We see some folding here on the top left. and then some mild whitening on the back, but the rest of the cars actually looks pretty good. I'd probably say that you're probably within that kind of like LP minus range, so kind of the worst end of LP. But, you know, again, moderately plays, like, we're seeing way more whitening or way more scratches. Then there might be way more scratches, but just based off of the lighting that we're seeing, you know, it's really kind of tough to see. So my guess is that you're probably at best, you know, PSA 6, but if there's anything else wrong with the hull that we simply can't see, probably go down a little bit more. But I'd say with the back not being as bad, other than just like the whitening, that's kind of standard for a PSA 6, I'd probably lean more towards a 6. In my honest opinion. Okay, so the next one, I'll have to do this real quick. Just make sure that there's nothing weird. Do one of these bad boys, just opening up. That's okay, perfect. So we're gonna do that. And we're just going to do this. Here we go. I just bought the Lugia Legends card. First time seeing a Legends card in person. Oh, dude, if you have never seen them before, congratulations on your new addiction, because I absolutely love the Legends cards. I think if you haven't seen the Darkrai Cresselia, the Darkrai section is probably my favorite Darkrai artwork I've ever seen. It is so sick. So I'm super stoked for you, honestly. Nep, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. And next up, we have the Reshi Charizard promo. So let's take a look. So, Q was posted in the episode 67 thread in the Discord. But we're on one of the final folks right now. Centering, honestly, looks a little bit thicker on this right side than the left, to be quite honest with you. Let's do a quick measure. I don't want to rush this one. So let's do a quick measurement on that left to right side. Let me just do one of these so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. Perfect. So we're going to do this. So we're going to measure on this side. So we're going to go from here to here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 roughly on that right side. And then we're going to bring it down a little bit here. And we're going to go from here to here. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, probably a little bit more, 3.5. Do that. And so I think we should be good. So I think that's more like 3.75 probably, and 4 on the right side. So I think this should be good, technically. Just pulled the Chansey for Twilight. Congrats, man. That's awesome. Miles, thanks for sharing the live. Have a Suicune Entei, one of them when I was a kid. The top half, nice. That's the part that I have too, Alan. We never have either the bottom half or the reverse. We only have one of them. I feel like that's the one to have though, if you're gonna have one. So the only other thing I see is possibly some whitening here on that top part. I don't know if that's just because of the lighting or whatnot. So we have like 1, 2, 3, possibly on that top part. It's a little bit tough to see, but... And that's just you taking some pictures there. Okay. And so the only thing that I see on this one is a little bit of whitening on this top left corner. So I think with that little bit of whitening, so that one is a little bit more noticeable. So there are some that are a little bit less that still is considered whitening. That is kind of more of like that long shot 10. So I'm not too sure, like you're kind of going down a little bit. So you have a possibility of a 9, maybe a 10. That's even like more of a long shot 10. I mean, those corners look fine. So it's really just this left corner I'm really having the biggest issue with. And the other thing that I'd probably double check is, I don't know if it's just the lighting, but this right here above the 2, and I'll kind of highlight it just for the VOD's sake. So here and here. So those bits is really what I'm kind of worried about, to be quite honest with you. So that would be the big one. If you aren't in stream for your card getting reviewed, do you just miss it? No. I know what you mean, Alan. So after every stream, the VOD gets instantly uploaded to my YouTube channel, so you can kind of watch it live. The other thing I try to do too, it's sometimes it makes it a little bit tough, is I'll add a reaction to your image with my mascot and the grade that I gave it, so you can kind of go back that way too. What computer app are you using? I'm just using Chrome, and I'm using extensions. So this extension right here is the magnifying glass hover zoom. So that's all I'm doing. Anda, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So yeah, I would say just worry about those little bits of whitening on the top there. And that one right there in the top left. I probably don't think that this will get the 10 because of those, possibly. And then I would just double check your measurements, because the left side and the right side on the back, I think you're good here, but it kind of transfers to the back, or on the front rather. So just double check this right side to left, but my guess is that it probably 9 because of that little whiting on the top. But again, you might get the long distance. I've seen it happen, but that one probably less likely. So that one I'd probably have to do 9 on, would be my guess on that one. So does that one corner affect anything? It does, Alan. Exactly what I was just kind of talking about. So I kind of like, if it was a little bit less, I'd probably do more of like that long distance 10, but just the one white corner, you know, there are copies that simply don't have that. So, and those warrant the 10s, if that makes sense. So Rob, thanks for the follow. The other side, let's see. So I was talking about the whitening up here, but I don't know, because this is part of the art, like part of this like yellow section, if that's what you're talking about. And the bottom left, bottom right look good. But cool. And so that one's that one. And yeah, I think that is going to... The right corner isn't great either. On the front, you mean? Oh, you're talking about the shape. Yeah, like this little like bit right here kind of looks like it's like clean cut. How do we go about you checking a card? Yeah, so right here, yeah. So I probably, you know, a little bit of a weird cut, but I probably have to see it in person, because sometimes like since I'm zooming in so close, sometimes it kind of makes it look like that, like a little bit of artifacting or kind of blurriness, but I see what you're talking about. So that might, you know, cause some issues too. But Ava, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. All right, so one final time, if you guys want to know how to submit your cards for a future grade review, I'm about to go over that one more time. So if you're watching me on Twitch, it's going to be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, it's going to be in my link in bio. Once you go into my link in bio, you're going to go here in my link tree. Next, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Once you've joined the Discord, you're going to go to the grade review channel. Once you're in the grade review channel, you can submit as many cards as you want, absolutely for free, for a grade review. I do these streams every Wednesday, starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is episode 68 or 67. We've been doing this 67 times every Wednesday, so we love doing these streams. And so having said that, make sure to look at the pinned messages of the grade review channel to have all the rules on how to properly submit. For example, your card can't be in a top loader or sleeve or poorly lit or not zoomed in, stuff like that. That makes it harder for me to give an accurate assessment. And so if it does make it hard, if you're submitting with a sleeve, submitting a top loader, I just simply won't review it, because I can't really effectively review the card. And as a reminder, it is first come, first serve, even though it is for free. And I only review up to 5 cards per person per stream. Again, you can submit as many as you want, but I'll only review the first 5 when it's your turn, and then the second 5, so on and so forth. However, if you want priority grade review, so every week you are the first to have your cards reviewed amongst the other subscribers. You know, some people want to get their cards assessed quicker to see if it's worth getting graded, or if they want to try to sell the card as soon as possible at an assessed condition, whatever it is. There is that priority grade review by subscribing on the Discord. The cheapest option starts at $4.99 and up. So once you subscribe on the Discord, not only do you get priority grade review, but you also get entered in a Discord sub exclusive giveaway that happens once a month at the beginning of each month, and the drawings are at the end of the month. So for the month of May, this month's Discord subscriber giveaway prize is a Pokemon Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo. Again, this is exclusive for Discord subs, so the higher the subscription, the more entries you get into this, and you also get priority over other subs as well. So that is how you submit, and that's how you can support me and get a priority and all that fun stuff. So I definitely appreciate that. So that is how you do it, my friends. So we're just going to go over to, you guys get to see my beautiful face here. So now we're going to just chatting. So, because I have a show that I have to attend this weekend. So we got the good old price gun here. Got a bunch of slabs in this bad boy that I'm going to be pricing probably starting tomorrow. The market's so crazy that I have to even reprice some of my stuff again. So I took a peek at the market, and SIRs and IRs are kind of going all over the place. So if it's your first time seeing me, well, hello, welcome. It's my wall of Pokemon back there. All my original childhood collection on my wall. I'll never grade that stuff, but it looks sick. Thanks, man. Gonna throw my Gengar all from Fusion in there. I think it's worth grade, but like a second opinion. Well, I'm here for you, my friend, so I definitely appreciate it. And again, if you guys have any other questions before I kind of wrap it up here, I have a lot of cards to price. I have a lot of stuff I have to do to prepare for the show, so I'm kind of wrapping it up a little bit early. But I always like to kind of end the stream here with if you guys have any questions or anything like that about grading or being a vendor. For example, there's this big kind of conversation, and I see a lot. I think it's more of just people that comment on their distaste for the 70%, 80% kind of trade or buy and trade percentages. And there are some people who simply don't understand, I think, a lot of what benefits a vendor can provide. Stuff like that. So I pretty much been doing this since 2017. So let her rip, Arv. So like one trend I've also been noticing is like the IRs and SIRs are starting to kind of correct a little bit in the market. That's honestly why I have to reprice, because a lot of my stuff, you know, just from pricing it last week has already kind of gone down by at least 5%. Unfortunately, no, NG. I gotta keep it fair for everyone. What's my least favorite Pokemon type? I think my least favorite Pokemon type would probably be... I'd say ground. So I feel like ground types are like a little bit too bland. When's the website back up? So the store should hopefully be back up after the weekend. Because so I guess like as a background, I have to really spend the month of like end of May, the full month of June, to completely redo how my store operates because of just how crazy the prices are and like how hard it's been to really kind of keep track of prices along with my day-to-day job. So I want to try to make it in a good spot so I'm not constantly turning on the site, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off. So I'm trying to figure out that solution after the show this weekend. So it will be up soon. I just want to make sure that when I reopen it, it's done right. That's about it. So I appreciate being patient, and I honestly have a lot more stuff too that I'm going to be putting on the website. That I think too, to be able to put more on there, I'm kind of toying around with the idea of not scanning every card because that takes a lot of time. And I'm missing the opportunity to update that inventory too. So there's a lot of different things in play behind the scenes. Arv, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. So, all right, guys. Well, let me actually show the Breakpoint blister. So I keep talking about it. So this is the Breakpoint blister that is going on for the Discord subs. So this is the prize that's drawn at the end of May. So if you guys want to enter in to win this Breakpoint Check Lane blister with the Pikachu promo, that is exclusive to Discord subscribers. I repeat, Discord subscribers, not TikTok. Discord subscribers. And they'll only get better. So I think that's one of the things I'm going to start looking for is like packs and stuff to give away. So yeah, if you want to support me and get priority grade review and all that fun stuff. My posture's awful. I'm like looking at myself in the... Got the Spike Spiegel Cowboy Bebop shirt. You can only see the top of his head. But, all right, guys. I think that's going to do it for me. I have a lot of work to do for the weekend. So I appreciate all the follows, shares, subs, all that fun stuff. You guys have been great. The last few weeks has been phenomenal. So I appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to me yap. So I appreciate that as always. So for those of you who are new, again, welcome. I hope to see you guys again. If you guys are new here, make sure to follow so we can do this again. I stream every Wednesday and most Mondays, depending on what I'm doing that day. So the next stream probably be Monday or Wednesday. The Monday one, if I do have one, it will be going over any pickups that I get from the show. So if you guys want to sneak peek on some of the stuff that might be in the online store, that's where I'm going to be doing it. But until then, have a great rest of your night, and I will see you on the next one.